got her working. Yay! Let's hope it keeps working and stuff.
Good job, Jason.
We had some issues last week where the audio sort of would keep cutting in and out, and we got her fixed. And this week we had a couple issues ahead of time that I think we got fixed.
Hopefully they're fixed.
Let's find out.
Anyway, BG here. Welcome back to the We Can't Pick a Title podcast.
Oh yeah, this is JT right over here. Just bringing up some technical schmectacles for you there.
Oh, showing everybody your schmectacles.
Showing off my schmectacles.
Gross.
My technicals.
Oh.
I had a little tickle there right in the very beginning.
In your schmectacles?
In my schmectacles.
Oh.
A little tickle in my schmectacles. It
Kind of
happens.
want to maybe shower or something.
Sometimes you got to pay extra for that. Hey-o. How's everybody else out there doing in the old podcast land and YouTube land?
Hopefully you guys are doing good. Hopefully you made it through another week and can watch or listen.
You did it. You made it. Good job.
It's officially summer here now.
Oh, yeah?
Happy summer, everybody.
Oh, how's that work?
We had the longest day of the year, so that kicks off summer.
Ah, right. It's like a whole tropic
It's not that the days are longer. It's just that the
equinoxy. And
it's the most hours of daylight that we get.
Solstice. So, I don't understand how. Are they all the same?
There's equinoxes and solstices.
Okay. So, but not the same.
The solstice are like the shortest and the longest day of the year, and then the equinox is like spring and fall.
Oh, okay.
Or the autumnal.
Is when they happen?
It's the crossover of like the halfway point is the equinoxes is the halfway point of going from the one tilt of the earth to like tilting the other way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all tilties.
It is still terrific.
And then where does the whole Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn come into play?
That's like there's the equator at 0
yeah.
latitude, and then that goes up that's the Tropic of
okay.
Capricorn, and then down is the Tropic of Cancer.
What is it? Do you know?
It's a latitudinal line.
So it's just a different way of saying south and north of the equator?
I think it's like the halfway point or whatever between the equator and the North Pole.
Oh.
And the equator and then the South Pole.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
That's you can get your Tropica.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's for sure the halfway point, but that's what I would guess.
We can look it up for sure.
We got like the 50th parallel is just in Campbell River, which is close to where we live.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So in what parallel do you know the tropics of whatever's?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think it's 60.
You don't know offhand?
I think it's 60.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like...
Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure it's 60.
Okay. And what's the 100th meridian?
The meridian's going the other way.
It's 100th meridian.
The meridians are going the other way.
It's weird how much I don't know about that kind of stuff.
And longitude.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Some other people will tell us that they're better at geography.
Yeah, I think, is it lat is fat? So
latitude
wider?
is like...
Oh, yeah, latitude's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hat.
Long is long? Isn't there like a saying? Something like that?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Latitude
Maybe
adjustment.
I'm wrong. It could be wrong. It's Hansen Fact over here. BG Facts. Not sure.
BG Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember we learned about all that stuff in school, but I really remember.
Smoked a lot of weed since then.
Since then. Okay. Yeah, it's like I don't know if I smoked weed back then, but
not in elementary school when we were getting all that.
I just remember I remember specifically not catching it all back in the day, even where it was kinda all sort of like
fractions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just sort of like I get it, ish, but I just go right. When it happens, my brain just starts to twist around
geography
on itself. Yeah, and, like on a map, I can tell who's over here and what's over there and what's this country, and I'm okay at that. Mm-hmm. But just as the actual the way everything moves and tilts and shifts and everything, and I just always have trouble.
Struggled with it.
Yeah, I get it, and I understand the science of it, and I've even read and seen different videos and lots of stuff about it, but I just always had trouble with grasping the whole thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's just about the poles being upright, and then it tilts over to like 23 degrees. So as the Earth's rotating around itself, right, plus it's going around the solar system.
Right. So it's tilted in.
Yeah, for the first half.
So we're warmer.
Yeah, for the summertime.
And then south is tilted in more towards.
Yeah, so that's why they get a warmer winter time.
Okay, so it's more of a wobble in, wobble out. Okay. Why don't they just call it that? They got to come up with all these fancy names.
Well, they probably did it first, and then they were like, we got to get this a proper name.
We can't just keep calling it wobbling in and wobbling out, you guys.
Yeah, they're going to think we're talking about Steven at the pub.
That's great, yeah. Here goes Steve again, yeah, on his equinox.
Yeah, he's wearing his one shoe.
Yeah. You come up with a bar called the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn.
I never liked Capricorn. The Tropic of Cancer.
Because of the cancer.
The whole innuendo of the black death.
And so why? Because I know like Cancer is like the crab thing, right? Is the Virgo sign. So is that maybe...
Not Virgo. Virgo is the Virgin.
The zodiac sign? I mean, I'm a Virgo, so that's why I had that in my brain.
Yep.
Is that where the Tropic of Cancer...
I think it comes like from celestial stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Not sure. Again,
asking
sloppy facts over here.
Sloppy facts with BG.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, guesstimations.
Okay. All right. Speculation corner.
Yeah, it's been 25 or more years since. 30 years. Actually, they just had our 30-year grad.
Hello.
I only recognize like 4 people that went to the grad reunion. I didn't go.
You didn't go?
No, I wasn't included, I guess, much in school. I had enough shit going on at home and in my own mind that I guess maybe wasn't fitting in a lot of the groups there. So, I mean, there was definitely like the 4 people I would have like chit-chatted with, but all the other ones I was like, I have no idea who you are. You know, a couple of them like looked familiar, like, okay, like what would you look like 30 years later, you know?
Right.
But I think there was like 600 some people in our grad class, so.
And it's probably a little bit different with Facebook now too. I just realized that, like, because if there's people that you want to bullshit that you went to high school with, you still can.
Yeah, you just see them, and you don't have to write a letter or cold call them.
Yeah, yeah.
Out of the blue.
Yeah, I got a few buddies now that I think about that. Like, I know a lot that's going on in their lives just because they posted on Facebook. You know, so it's like
able to catch up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of people from school that I wound up on Facebook with, befriending, and I mean, some of them have like unfriended me, or I've unfriended them since then, because you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe this person, give it a chance. And I always sort of wondered what they were up to, and then you're like, oh, God, right, yeah, that's who you are. Okay, never mind.
Oops.
Never mind.
I remember.
Just totally different political ideas. Or I had one fella from school, he was in the same grade as ours, and I don't know, it was probably about 8 years ago or maybe 7 years ago or something that we were, found each other through other people on Facebook. So I sent a friend request and was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. Wonder what this person's up to. And their kids were like doing like a lot of snowboarding and acting and stuff, like trying to get into acting. And so I was like, like liking and commenting on their stuff. And he like messaged me and told me that the funny stuff that I post is good, but any of the stuff that's like women's rights or like any of that sort of stuff that I'm like, nobody wants to hear about it. So let's not talk about trauma caused by rape or how to like,
crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, oh, okay, I get it that it's making you uncomfortable.
Yeah. And why is it making you uncomfortable?
Yeah, he's like, feel free to just keep sharing all of the jokes and stuff. That stuff's funny. But he's like, I'm not into that. And I was like, well, then feel free to unfriend me, because that's only a slice of my personality is my sense of humor. There's also all the other aspects of me and the trauma that you go through. Like most comedians have some shit they've been through, and having a good sense of humor is a way to be able to like buffer that and process it and move through it. And a lot of the funniest people in the world have been through some
shit,
some stuff. Yeah, and it's like your Richard. Dark sense of humor is how you process it. And I was just like, yeah, like unfriend me if that's who you are, and like don't come to my page and tell me how, like, what I'm allowed to put on there.
Yeah.
I just was like, fuck you, buddy. I never said that, but that's how I felt. And thank goodness Ken Gaskell unfriended me, and the trash took itself out.
All right.
Yeah.
That's handy.
Fuck you, Ken Gaskell.
We'll probably bleep out the last name, maybe.
I don't care.
But,
who cares? Whatever.
Maybe he knows a lawyer or something.
So what?
Facebook law.
Yeah, like I'm a positive person, and but I do share stuff that's close to my heart, and working on myself, and hoping other people can work through their stuff. Jason's spit screen's trying to get in his chesticle here. Uh-oh. Yeah.
All right. Cut her out.
There's Ron wriggling now.
There you go. See how it goes now. I spit all over the screen.
Yeah.
My peas will be popping like...
So don't censor me, man.
Like preposterous.
Yeah. Anyways, there's lots of other cool people that are on there. And, there's some people that we don't really talk at all, but... Or they don't interact on Facebook. Like, there are people that just don't like and comment or share or anything, but they still are enjoying the posts or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Or enjoy seeing pictures of my horse or my dog or the beach or the forest. Pretty much that's all I share.
Struggle with that with Facebook sometimes, too, of like, because I'm like, shouldn't it be just a fun thing? And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's your platform.
And that's exactly
or not
it's
your
whatever
platform,
you want.
but like your little soapbox on your thing. Yeah. So you share what's you.
Yeah, whatever you want.
It is whatever you want it to be. Other than the news, community. You're not allowed to share the news.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in Canada,
unless it's news or goes against their community standards, which are pretty random.
Yeah, exactly. So... Yeah, so I didn't feel like I missed out, and people shared pictures of the reunion, so that was cool.
Right, reunion. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, so it's cool to see Marcy on there, and Corrine I recognized, and Teresa I recognized.
Hi, Teresa.
And I think Scott.
Oh, baby.
Oh, 2 different Scotts.
Oh, there you go.
2 different Scotts. Right. One that I was, both we were in school, but one I also
Scotty,
worked with it.
Or like Scott H. Or Scott P.
At Zeller's, back when we worked at Zeller's.
Or Scooter.
Yeah.
You ever call one of them Scooter?
No, none of us were that close. Everybody kept me at a little bit of a distance there, because, I'd ruin their popularity if people were seen hanging around me. Mind you, Scott Vandement he was the one I worked with at Zeller's.
V. Yeah, there you go. See?
Yeah, he had a great sense of humor, and
nice.
Yeah, we got along good. But yeah, we never hung out outside of work or school or anything. We just enjoyed joking around.
Yay! Yeah. And again, he's probably on Facebook if you wanted to find him.
I think he is. Yeah, occasionally shares some pictures of the wife and kids, and
And that's the thing with Facebook too, is like
here
that.
And there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of people just aren't on there.
Yeah.
Often or share a lot of stuff, or a lot of people just post whatever's important to them.
Vacations.
A lot of times that
like,
for sure.
Look, we actually got to go somewhere, and then people are like, "Oh, everybody gets to go everywhere, and I don't." And it's like, well, they're not showing you the fucking taking the garbage out every day or whatever they do.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Actually, there's that guy on Amazing Flow Arts page that he takes the bin out, and then he does like a flaming arts or a flaming sword or some sort of deal. That's his whole thing. Is like, taking the bin out again, and then he has like sometimes like 2 people, one of them's him, and they're dressed as like ninjas or like Raiden from Street Fighter kind of deal, and then they have like Raiden's the one with the hat. He's like the god of thunder and lightning kind of deal. Yeah.
Kind of like Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, almost exactly like that, actually.
Those are sweet hats.
Yeah, Street Fighters are pretty direct rip-off of that. But I think it might actually be based on some sort of real god.
Ooh.
I mean, not real god, but,
Well, are any of them real?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
As real as any of them are, I guess we'll say.
Just
could get in trouble for that one, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because that's how lightning sounds.
Anyway, Raiden. I can't remember what I was even talking about now. My brain's all over the place today.
Yeah, I got to do a cool horsey meditation yesterday.
Yay!
Yeah. The lady that, a friend of mine, Lee, the one I think we told you about her book maybe a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We share a horse together. And
too far to reach.
Yeah. And she offers like meditations and like horse healing stuff. And so she invited some people that meditate to come and do this group meditation. And when we were back in Alberta, we got invited by our friend Bree, friend of the pod, and she invited us to this mantra meditation.
Was it Bree that did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I always thought Cindy.
Well, Cindy is part of it, and Lisa is part of it and stuff too.
Oh, right,
I think maybe they were hosting it.
Oh, okay.
But Bree was the one that was
Thanks, Bree.
telling us about the mantra meditations, and so we'd learned our mantras there and then just practice at home. But we had gone to some of the group meditations, and it's a different energy when you get a chance to meditate with other people that are meditating. And they even would like go so far as like, if you can't be there at the day and time that they meditate,
right,
if you're able to meditate wherever you are at that same time, then that also helps to reverberate out into the world, right? So if you're, if you're meditating and, like you're letting it all go kind of a thing, and you're just like,
oh, my whole body just cracked.
Nice. So anyways, being able to meditate with other people, it's almost, it feels easier to slip in and back out of your meditation. For me anyways, everybody else has a different experience, but I found it kind of amplified it. So it made it, I'm not going to say better, but it made it like
easier,
deeper, easier, higher frequency kind of a thing, because everybody else is all in the same state. Kind of mob mentality, right? Like you imagine a bunch of people that are all worked up about something, that's going to have a different energy. Or like you go to a concert and everybody's like, rah, like you have a different energy. And then with the meditation, everybody's in this safe place where they're open, they're opening their heart chakra, and they're being able to have love passing through and back into us. And so anyways, next door, over at the Horsey Town, Leah's offering on Mondays at 4:00 these meditations, and she's doing it by donation so that it can be inclusive to people who maybe don't have a bunch of money to be able to like go and take a class or go and be able to do the full retreat or anything like that. But practicing, like people that are practicing meditation, even if you're not doing it regularly, but you know how to meditate, then you can reach out, and I can put you in touch with her, because it's kind of by invitation only right now, because she doesn't want any groups any bigger than 6 at the moment.
Oh, right.
So there was 2 ladies that showed up, and then myself and Lee, and it was lovely. We did a body scan meditation kind of thing in the orchard, and then we were, because the girls that were there were horse savvy and felt safe, we were able to move, put our chairs into the actual paddock with the horses and have meditation in there.
So body scan, I assume, is just like you ladies just doing like pulling down your sunglasses, like
just elevator-izing each other for 15 minutes.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
No?
No. I talked about it before, and it is on her website that you can go on and
get all the info.
We'll put it in the show notes so that you can take a look, and
I was gonna say message the pod, and we can hook you up.
Yeah. Because she does have the actual body scan. She talks you through it on her website, so you can, if you want to access that for free. It's really just a great way to bring yourself back into the moment and to be able to be there and centered, because horses are like there in the moment all the time. That's how they live. So in order to be around the horse, and it's you need to be focused, be in the moment with them and aware of what's going on around and within yourself and all of that stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, you're getting your headspace right before you come in.
That's cool.
And it's not like I'm checking all my bullshit at the door or that kind of thing either. Like, because you can still have your bullshit with you or whatever is going on, but you're aware of it. At least you're like, oh my God, my back is super sore from gardening. Like I was really struggling to get through the first part of it, and Lee she's so wonderful guiding you through it. I think I talked about before, like her describing the different parts of your body, you know, like feeling in through your collarbone and bringing your attention back. And then every time we get to like the butt cheeks, she's like, is your butt scrunched under, or is it like loose and soft, and like feel into like the squishy part of your butt? And I'm like, I giggle every time she says the squishy part.
Do you give it a little squeeze with your hands, or like, well, you know?
You could if you wanted to, great. I think. You know?
Shake it out.
The soft part, like between your thighs and stuff like that, right? Because you're bringing awareness to your body one bit at a time, and just being aware of what it feels like. Like with your eyes, are they like, because your eyes are closed if you feel safe to, like, are your eyes fluttering, like your eyelids fluttering, or are they like squinched closed, or are they just relaxed, or... Yeah, it's really neat. I totally enjoyed it, and the two gals really enjoyed it, and the one gal messaged back that night and had shared that she was still feeling
nice,
like just so much love, and what the horses had done in the paddock with us really reflected what's going on in her life and gave her the courage to be able to take the next steps that she's in the middle of.
Really? I'd like to... Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to know, like... I don't know what a pie, but the specifics almost of it. Like,
well,
I get
think
it.
with the one person was like going through some bigger changes in their life, and it was neat, my observation of the one horse. The one horse had like come and like stood very close with each of us and like almost like head over us, like very like intimate. We were in each other's bubbles, horses, or this horse. And then the other one was like sort of standing off on her own, but she was standing with her feet really close together. And then when this lady was able to like be closer to the horse wound up like stepping its feet apart a bit and doing like this big tight stretch, like you know, when you like tighten, if you're doing like a stretching thing, like you tighten up all your muscles and then you loosen them, and you don't realize that there's some muscles that are short and tight until you like try to scrunch them even harder. You know, like if you take a moment and just like scrunch all your hands as hard as you can and even a little bit harder, and then you release and you're like, oh wow, I didn't even know I was holding tension there.
Hurt my jaw.
Yeah, Jason's showing off.
That's why I don't.
Well, you don't. That's have why to I don't
do those ones a lot of times.
Yeah,
you know,
because you get competitive with it.
Yeah, I go as literally as hard as I possibly can, and I cramp up. So
my interpretation of what had happened in that moment when she's standing beside the horse was, or closer to the horse.
Closer to the horse.
A little closer to the horse. Is that this horse had like, you know, didn't realize maybe she'd been holding this tension, and so she was able to like... do this like almost like pushed way, almost like she was gonna sit down, like pushed way back and like arched her neck like she looked like a Trojan, like the Trojan horse kind of thing, and then relaxed and then like took a step out to the side with each foot. So instead of having her feet close together, which makes you feel a little tippy and not so stable, this horse after doing this stretch stepped out wide, so it was like she was like she's like, okay, I'm solid now,
I'm able to now.
Okay, right, you know, like I'm stable, I'm safe. I was no matter what.
Before,
well, her feet were just so close together that it was like she didn't have a lot of stability.
That was like me flying the drone the other day.
Yeah,
the exact almost
because you were holding the same position for a long time.
Yeah, I had two people on either side of me, and it was sort of like flying the drone with the tablet, and I walked over to sort of not the best position. We were all on like a rocky bluff and everything. And then I was standing sort of with my feet on a bit of an angle and close together, way closer than normally I would prefer to stand for a while. And then I just sort of stopped because they were coming closer to me. So I was like, okay, and they were sort of right beside me. And then I stood there for 15 minutes or until the battery of the drone, ran out. And I realized like my legs were just vibrating, my knees and all the way from even up to my back and everything was just vibrating by the time because it was just such
drone,
exactly,
not necessarily your body.
Well, and there was really, I would have had to like, excuse me, and and really stepped out wide, and I had to do one of those kind of deal because it was still just like never got a chance to stretch or relax or flex it out, before it was just like, okay, here you go, kind of deal. So I don't know, it just that's what popped into my head as soon as you said that.
Yeah, it was relatable experience. Yeah, and so it's like we get a chance to talk about it a little bit at the end of the session before everybody goes home, but sort of like what...
Like your experience?
What came up for you? Like even in the body scan, like, well, what came up for you? And one person was like, I noticed like tingling in my feet, but I was on my feet all day. Or this other person was like, I kind of felt a little bit...
My jiggly butt.
A little bit wiggly or whatever at the end, and it was important to sit down or you know what I mean? Like, and my back was sore, so it was like concentrating on like trying to not like bend right over and stretch out my back. I did like, wiggle around a little bit, and I told Lee after like, I didn't want to be all like stretching it out, and she's like, stretch it out. She's like, that's stuff in your body wanting to release. Yeah. And by you just like holding it in,
for sure, yeah, it's not compounds.
You're not doing any good, right? Whereas like with the meditations, I know before you're supposed to kind of like breathe through the agony in your lower back or whatever, but like, and then there's other thoughts where they're like, okay, well, if your back is sore, let's move you back up against the wall rather than staying in the circle. Move so where your back is supported. Yeah. So that you can be comfortable. And she'd mentioned for me to bring my chair when I came, and I was like, it'll be fine. I'll sit on the ground. And then after the session, I was like, I totally should have brought my chair. I'm like, you're so intuitive. You knew exactly what I needed. And I was like, and it was funny because I was like gardening and watering. We'd put some seeds in the garden. And I was like, okay. Oh, right. It's 10 minutes too. And I mean, it's 5 minute, not even 2 minute walk from here. But I wanted to come in and, go to the bathroom and be ready to go and zip over there. So I was like hurrying to get there. And the other lady and I were giggling because we were both kind of like realizing that we hurried up to meditate.
You better rush.
Hurry up and get there and meditate.
Meditate hard.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Break a chakra.
Yeah. It was lovely. So.
Yeah.
It was fun to get to
message us the pod.
If you're a meditator on Cortez and you'd like to be a part of it, I think it's going to be every Monday at 4. Sounds like that's what it's going to be.
Does she also do stuff online with people, meditations and such? Just thinking of people that aren't necessarily local.
I think that there's some consultations, but she does do the body scan, is on her website. Okay. We'll put the website in the show notes.
Yeah, and we'll put it right here.
And then you can go there and you can get the body scan for free. But then if you want to do any sessions with her with the horses, then you can get in contact with her. And I don't think she does any remote stuff with the horses, but she also does tarot card readings, which is helpful for people if they're looking for some guidance in their life. Maybe they have big changes coming on, or they just need a little reassurance that they're going in the right direction. And she helps to interpret the cards for you. Okay. She does offer that at Hollyhock, but I think she might be able to do.
I want to start
some of those as well.
Tangent Road?
Yep.
I want to start a meditation type of group or something that's like based just in science. Because
like at the high school in the classroom, a science class?
That'd actually be a good idea.
Yeah.
Meditation class, that'd be fucking, you should have that in play school.
Oh, the kids, the kids are really into it in elementary school.
I'm just thinking, because like the times I've explained meditation to others, like friends of mine that are like, not meditators.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
They haven't been exposed to it in a positive way.
Yeah, and consider it very hokey pokey.
Yeah. You have to have your mind
Eastern
blank,
philosophy,
man. And it's not about
and,
having a blank mind.
Yeah.
It's about being able to have thoughts come in, recognize the thoughts, and then let them go back out again.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about it. Is like, yeah, bring them in because you're going to feel them.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't,
and it doesn't matter what's coming up for you during your meditation.
Right.
It really doesn't matter at all.
Like a lot of times you sort of just don't even know. I'm sort of like half in, half out.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I felt that and realized that was popped into my brain and now it's gone and great. Yeah. I don't have to think about that anymore.
Yeah.
Or as much or as heavy.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, if you're practicing at home, maybe you can have like a little notebook book beside you, and you're like, oh my God, I finally remembered the combination to that thing, and you jot it down. Yeah. If you find that important things are popping up for you, you can, like your meditation can be sort of whatever you want it to. It can be just doing the dishes can be meditative. It's about being in the moment. Yeah. And not having all the other distractions. And you can have like the mental chatter inside your head, but it's all about, finding that being able to be like, oh, there it is. And okay, and now I'm letting that go, Well,
I just thinking like, 'cause with the science side of it, I'll explain to people that are totally, I wouldn't say against it, but definitely they're like,
they think it's a joke or whatever. Yeah,
in their lives.
They have a judgment about it.
I sort of talk about like quantum entanglement and energies and vibrations and megahertz and kilohertz and gigahertz and stuff, and then they sort of end up thinking like, oh, well, that's kind of true. Like maybe there is something with energies and. The more people meditating, the same thing is better and more gets that vibration out and the energies. And that's all real science stuff.
Yeah, it is based on science.
It's based on like actual vibrations and energies and things like that. And so then I'll get into it and then they'll be like, well, so what do you do? Do you do like a mantra or something? I'm like, yeah, there was a mantra that was taught to us. And they're like, oh, what is it? And then I'll tell them. Shri Shrim Nama.
Mine's different because I was born a different year.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing I like about it too. But then as soon as I say that, literally, they're just like gone. They think it's some hippy dippy Indian Eastern
You're letting
thing.
The devil in, man.
Yeah, and then and anytime I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be that. It can be whatever you want. It can. They're already gone.
It can be cat food.
Yeah,
cat
exactly.
Food.
That might be a little weird. Especially if you have to buy cat food.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But anytime I tell them that, by then they're already, yep, it's weird and not cool.
I didn't understand it. I don't even know how to spell
exactly. Or some hippy dippy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, it's so funny. You can explain it a bunch of different ways.
Well, people are only able to understand from where they are, right? Like people can only take in so much. All of us too, right? Like that's why maybe the latitude longitude didn't stick with you.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. Like you weren't in a place where that was resonating with you, and that's okay.
Wow.
We're all here for a different experience, and
too much He-Man trivia in there.
Probably, yeah. Yep.
Can't fit in Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn in there. Yeah.
It's triggering, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Shit's weird.
Yeah, it was exciting to get to be part of the pilot.
Yeah, for sure.
Inaugural.
Yeah.
Meditation.
I think I'll come to the next one. And I totally forgot because you were on your way and gone, and I was still outside doing whatever we were doing. And I was like, oh, and then I remembered after that it's sort of open to anyone. It wasn't just your session.
Yeah. It's a public thing, but it's sort of by invitation as far as like you need to kind of know how to meditate on your own because she doesn't want to,
She's not teaching a meditation class.
No, it's a body scan in the beginning, outside the paddock, so that you can get focused up, and then, sometimes we'll be inside the paddock, sometimes we won't. It'll depend on the day, right? Everything's very, dynamic. Depends how the horses are doing and who's in the group. And I mean, if everybody has appropriate footwear, like if you've got closed-toed shoes on, ideally some boots.
Steel-toed boots.
Yeah, you don't want steel toe around horses because if they step on it,
crushes
it'll cut your toes off. Yeah, so don't wear steel toe around horses.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Cool. Horsey meditation.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Did you feel, how am I going to word this? Did you feel different because
how did it affect me?
Well, I know that you would feel different because the horses were there, just because they're there logistically. Mm-hmm. But as far as like your actual meditative groove, I guess
it was easier to get in and like to be able to come out because I'd like open my eyes too. Like Lee keeps her eyes open during both the body scan and the horses for our safety.
Yeah.
And but she also joins us in the meditation, but she keeps her eyes open. So it's like a different meditation experience for her because she's facilitating it, right? And she can't just have her eyes closed and go full in.
Yeah.
But the horses having such big hearts, that it like amplifies
even just the electricity.
Whatever's going on with you, right? So, like the one lady, that had wrote in afterwards, she's like, it's 8 p.m. and I'm still just like
buzzing.
Yeah, like overflowing with joy and love and
nice.
And like the one horse had come and stood close to us. Like the one wound up like right, kind of right over me. So like I think our hearts were maybe 2 feet apart.
Oh, okay.
And it was very intimate having like because we were all seated like 2-3 feet apart in a sort of semicircle. And in the end, like or near the like 2/3 of the way through when we were in the paddock, that the horses wound up sort of on either end of us, bookending us.
Oh, okay.
And then they also had gone into like this meditative
They're just in the circle
too. Yeah. So they were like, there was like all 6 of us mares. I'm doing air quotation because we're all girls that were there. And so we were like all one as a herd, and the horses were sort of facing each other, which is like protection each direction, right? So Moon could keep an eye out for Sky could keep an eye out for Moon, but we were all within the same semicircle, and the girls just it was really easy to come in and back out, and the one horse didn't leave me when it was over, and the girls had gotten a chance to go up and talk to the other or see where their body energy, like where it felt safe to walk up to the other horse. And then just stop when your energy, when you felt like it was, like close enough, or the horse felt like it was close enough, or whatever. And I just stayed. I didn't get up and go and, see the other horse. The other horse stayed probably for 20 more minutes, like over me.
Oh, that's cool.
Jason had said that he'd looked in the camera to see, what we were up to. Are we still? Are we still
2 hours or so had gone by?
Yeah, and it's only usually for an hour, but because it was the pilot project or the pilot episode or whatever, experience, that it was like we had a bit more time at the beginning and spent some more time afterwards. But I stayed with the horse, and then because it was kind of time to wrap it up, and but nobody was like really in a hurry to go home.
Right, yeah, and for sure. So everybody's still buzzing, right?
So she still sort of let the girls explain or talk about what their interpretation of that half of the experience was.
Okay.
And
probably super good for her to know.
Yeah, for sure. She wants feedback because these people are, friends of hers. And eventually the other horse walked away, and my massage therapist in Alberta used to say, and we'll call that a session for today.
Nice.
He'd like go down to the toes and be at the end and do like a little boop boop squeeze on your toes, like we'll call that a session for today. And I just felt like Moon had said that, and then like was walking away, and so I said it out loud, and the other girls kind of giggled, and
that's great.
Lee was like, okay, looks like that's a wrap. All right, let's head to the gate. And
gave the horse's toes a quick boop boop.
Away we went. Yeah, I didn't touch the horses yesterday. It was really
weird.
It's self-control for me, right?
Yeah.
Because I do have a great relationship with both of the horses. I feel like they show me when they need a good scratching somewhere, or if they're hungry, or if they're too cold, or if they're, too hot and they need to be.
You're definitely a touchy-feely,
I'm affectionate.
in the zone
I'm affectionate
person
with the horses, and sometimes I feel affectionate with people too. So, it's difficult to not
sometimes
not go hands on. Mind you, when the one horse had come over, when we're not supposed to touch them, but I mean, you know, she had her head like right above mine, and I could feel her little whiskers through my hat, you know, tickling.
Crazy.
But when she'd first come over, I like opened my eyes a little bit because I was, you know, I'm a horsewoman, so I'm like, okay, being aware, knowing Lee's got it, but at the same time, I'm, you know, my own safety is important, so I opened my eyes just a little bit, even though I was still in my meditation. And the horse had put her head right down, and there was a horsefly like just at the top of her blaze. So I just gave it a little, and then she just stood there with me, and then came a little closer and a little closer until she was like kind of basically like covering me. And she'd done that with each of the other women before, and it was hard to not take a picture because it was like so magical. And when the other horse had started meditating along too, I opened my eyes and had like made eye contact with Lee and was like boop boop, pointing my finger at the other horse, going like, she's in it too now, instead of like wandering around foraging looking for stuff.
That's wicked.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I highly recommend it if you're, you know, even if you're not a great meditator and you don't practice regularly, but if you're, you know, if you just want to,
might be a good way to get into it.
Yeah, just have a little body scan. It's just a good way to like check in with your own self. Like, is my squishy butt feeling all scrunched underneath me? Or and to not have judgments of what your body's doing either.
Yeah. Right?
You don't have, there's no judgment about whether it's right or wrong, that maybe your feet are hurting, or that your back is sore, or that you know maybe your eyes are scrunched shut. It's like, it's just where you are, and it's about accepting where you're at and accepting and loving your body where it's at. You know, so I really enjoyed it, and we'd all had sessions with Lee other times, we are all, you know, kind of knew what we were in for a little bit, but. Nice. Yeah, it was a great experience yesterday afternoon.
Yay.
Yeah, and I really feel like freer, you know, not that I felt like I went over there like feeling good and stuff too. Yeah. But yeah.
And maybe
great experience.
Probably helps a lot even just being as a horsewoman, as far as, like I said, not touching and the willpower of that. And I don't know, there's got to be unseen benefits even. You know, being a horse person, to
control my urges,
you know,
right? Yeah. So then that can like maybe go over to like reaching for that ice cream, or you know, patience. Like comfort stuff. You know, like I just wanted to snuggle and cuddle the horses, and we didn't. And afterwards, like we wound up hugging like each other. Yeah. You know, as like a hey, that was magical. Thank you guys. So yeah, I just left with lots of gratitude and was so happy. And again, it's only a donation, like, you know, so it, you know, you could do $10, $20, something like that.
Can I bring like a can of beans?
I don't think the horses
like
eat
a food
beans.
Bank donation.
It goes directly to the horses' food fund. So
just carrots from the garden.
It's for their hay. I'm sure you could bring carrots for them to eat later on or something, maybe. But yeah. But it's not about them associating us with food. And I was really relieved that neither of the horses came and patted us down for dinner. I was kind of half expecting them to be like, hey, lady, when you come out of that, like whenever I come out of the orchard, after I give them their pellets, I always pick some of the grass from around the edges and then bring it in for them. And
nice.
Yeah, I didn't do that. But then the horses knew because we were in our, you know, in our bodies in the present moment by the time we even entered the paddock. Well,
that's the cool thing is like they must just sense it somewhat because they don't do that when we're just there.
No. Right? And this was their first session. They've had horse medicine sessions with people one-on-one with Lee, but they've never done a group meditation before. Right. So both of the horses in the beginning were like walking around in the paddock quite a bit, so I could hear them walking around behind me. And you know, Lee had said you can turn and face, but it is nice if you're meditating in a circle, right? So my back was to the horses because I'm like, I get to see them as much as I want. So for the other ladies, like they were kind of sort of facing each other, but sort of facing the paddock too.
And I get the circle thing. And again, I always come at it from a scientific sort of angle. You know, you think about anything like that where you put magnets in a circle all bouncing off each other and stuff. That's way more powerful than magnets in a line.
Lots of energy.
all depends on the experiment that you're doing. Of course, magnets in a line has its benefits, of course, but totally depends on what you're doing. So, that all makes sense. And just the electricity
between
field
everybody,
within a horse. It's a way bigger body than ours, so it must need more electrics
because the
within
heart's
it.
so much bigger.
I
think she'd said 12 times bigger or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I think, humans are 432 megahertz or 456 megahertz?
I don't know what the numbers are.
I think something like that they vibrate at. And
for the heart?
Yeah, well, just your nervous system
and
everything, your electrics are vibrate at a certain frequency. And that's just a thing. And there's, different waves and variations amongst humans. I'm just curious what the horses are, if they're the same.
They really liked the steel drum, any kind of steel drum music.
Oh, really?
And,
okay. That's
I've seen some cool videos of people playing the steel drum for the horses, and the horses will come over and put their face just right up against it, so it's fully vibrating through them. And Michael Keith, musician on the island here, he has some beautiful stuff, and I went on his Moonclaw page on Spotify and played some of his music and for the horses, because I was checking my Facebook the one day or Instagram or something, and he posted a new song last year, and I was like, oh my goodness. And Skylar really seemed like she was really into it. She stopped chewing and then just kind of put her ears loose and soft out to the sides and just closed her eyes. And I was like, oh wow, she's really resonating with the music. And Michael Keith is so skilled on so many different stringed instruments that it's really fun to get to hear his stuff, because it's kind of, I don't know if worldly is the right word, but it's it taps into feels like some Middle Eastern, some South American, he's got so much variety.
A real fusion of everything.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. Yeah. So if you guys check out the Moonclaw stuff, it's beautiful, beautiful stuff to listen to.
We'll put a link in the show notes, in the description.
And give him a like and a share and a follow. And
yay, Michael.
Yeah, the horses were really down for that. So
is that his name? Oh, that's his professional. That's his guitar name.
I think he put
because he goes by a few different names. But.
Yeah, I think that album Keith. Was the Moonclaw was the one that I'd looked up and subscribed. And
sounds like a badass cat from those cat books.
Yeah, he's
Warrior
lots of fun.
cat books.
If you can catch his live performances, he's fantastic too.
Yeah, and he's funny. He always throws in some humor and stuff too. He's got the craziest humor.
Great sense of humor. Yeah, super talented, and the horses really liked the vibration of the music and stuff too.
Yeah,
I listen to all kinds of stuff, and the horses are tolerant of what I'm listening to. A lot of the times it's a Warwick Schiller podcast, but I finished all of those. And
big fans of Slayer and
no
Sublime.
No.
It was hardcore thrash metal.
No.
Oh. Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, I think because I like Queen Herbie, they're kind of because I'm bopping along to it too. Oh, the new Queen Herbie album's amazing, The Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
Check it out. I think there's only 6 songs on it.
Nice.
Season, SZN. The one song is really, really good.
Season.
I liking that one. And it's just off the top of my head. I should have wrote some show notes.
No pressure.
Everybody's liking the Bob Dylan one too. It's got some little weird changes in it where the music changes because it's sort of about maybe I'll be the next Bob Dylan of within the lyrics, and so the song's called that. And then there's one that's I want to say a Let's Go or something like that, or Let It Go or something. But it's not that. But
not that Let It Go.
No, it's not Frozen. But yeah, the new Queen Herbie album just dropped last week. Alchemist,
all kinds of links in the show notes.
Oh my God, it's going to be show notes galore. Yeah, Salty's been hanging out with friends.
I'm just trying to find
Going for some walks.
What would you rather hear? Flipping through
We were asked to stud him out, but we both felt a little bit sick about the idea of letting him tie with another dog because we've had friends whose dogs.
He's still a sweet little boy.
I know, he's so innocent.
He's a little puppy.
He might have giant black balls. But
yeah, but he's not a dad.
I don't know. And maybe if it was a real sweet little...
He's packing some heat.
Lady dog that was hypoallergenic too, it would possibly be a consideration, but I'd rather not. You know, that wasn't our goal. And his mommy and daddy were making other puppies, so I feel like that's not his job. Yeah. That's not why he's here. So I politely declined.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah,
thanks for thinking of the handsome stud that he is.
Thanks for the offer, but we're not looking to breed him. So.
Like I said, maybe in a couple of years, maybe, but I don't want to...
I'd like to have him neutered by then.
Yeah, I don't want to leave him dangling for that long.
Yeah, I want him to be able to play with the other dogs and not have to worry about humpity humpies.
Part of me was also, before the offer came along, was like, it'd be nice to let him just bust one nut, at least, before getting it all cut off, but then it's like...
Have you seen dogs stuck together?
Well,
it's so fucking traumatizing.
No, exactly.
And I don't want him wondering, like, is every other dog I meet, does that mean I get to...
Hump-a-dump?
Yeah, I don't want him.
Yeah. And that's even...
Wondering
I wasn't even thinking necessarily another dog, just like a toy or something, but...
Like a dog fleshlight?
To completion. Yeah, exactly. But
Ew.
Exactly. That's why I don't even want to think about it, really. But it was sort of like... just as a dude with
it's pretty fun.
The same parts.
It's pretty fun.
It's you know.
You highly recommend
it. But it's also like one of those things of like, loved and lost. Better to have loved and lost than never loved at all, but replace love with busting a nut.
I don't know. I feel like he's just such a sweet, innocent guy, and we really curbed the humping when he was first starting to develop
he's doing really good at that now.
And he's not a dominant dude.
Yeah.
But there are some male dogs that like he doesn't play with his friend Georgie because Georgie didn't get neutered until quite late in life, and so some dogs that aren't neutered don't get along with other dogs that aren't neutered, and it can cause issues, right? Because they're like, potentially you're a threat.
Right.
So, I mean, they've met, but they haven't like had a chance to just like go play, because there is a chance that he could feel defensive still.
Funny how size doesn't factor in on that. Like on other animals, size definitely factors in.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like two bears come upon each other. It's just like if one's way bigger than the other, it's just like, I'm not even going to bother fighting.
Yeah,
This isn't even
mind.
close. You get those females over there, and those are yours.
Yeah, I'll wander off and eat some berries.
Try to, scraggle some scragglers.
I'll just try to get some salmon.
Beef exactly. Up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, beef up for next year.
Yeah, hook up with some.
Get that beach bod.
With some lonely lady bears that
all
are
the sow bears
around.
you're looking for.
I guess.
I think that's what they call them, sows.
There you go.
Female bear.
That's what we've been up to.
Yay!
It's kind of weird stuff. We found a 4-leaf clover recently.
5-leaf.
And then a 5-leaf clover also.
That's what I was gonna. It dried up. I meant to put it in a book or something, but it all dried up. You took a picture, right? I think
I did take a picture. I had it flattened out. You can kind of.
BG finds 4-leaf clovers all the time, folks.
This one's the 5-leaf. It's hard to tell. But
she can point out 4-leaf clovers like I can find spelling mistakes.
Yeah, it just like sort of pops out.
Yeah.
There's one really over at the barn next door, and we step on it walking up this hill, and I'm like, there's a little 4-leaf clover, but I didn't want to like pick it because it was all rugged looking anyway, so I pointed it out to the girls last time we all got together.
Yeah, it's funny. There's, when you think about it, and I remember you've plucked a couple times, once in front of other people, and they'd be like, I've never found a 4-leaf clover ever, kind of deal. And then you'll find like 3, kind of deal. They just stick out.
I haven't found any in like, I'm going to say like 5 years or something like that. I just haven't found them. And especially like knowing that I'm the gal that finds the 4-leaf clovers, it's been kind of like a kick in my ego to not be able to find them. So it was like, I was like extra super grateful to be finding them again. And
5-leaf, that was cool.
It's kind of cool.
Luckily for me, there's always going to be spelling mistakes.
Especially in menus. What's wrong with people?
Spell check and AI and all the autocorrects in the world. Still got to be spelling mistakes, apparently.
And it's weird because, like, a lot of people don't care anymore.
That's,
Like if you went to school in the 80s,
yeah,
it was like you don't want to look like a dumbass for having spelling mistakes on stuff because it, like you're like, oh, you're not intelligent enough to know the spelling of something. Use a dictionary. And now that everything is like so easy to find the spelling on stuff that people just, they don't care. They're like, well, you know what I meant.
And I was going to say, is even back then, you know, growing up as a good speller.
People didn't care back then either?
It totally depends on the person.
Okay.
And the teacher and everything else.
And probably how your family feels about it,
there was literally parents and kids that told me, like...
They don't care.
I finished the subject, or finished the project.
Yeah.
And everybody's happy with that kind of deal. And there'd be some spelling mistakes and everything, but that's good enough. He did it, and he wrote out some words. Great.
I remember it was like that when the kids were with us. They were just happy that he was trying, and I was like, but don't you want to have nice printing? Don't you want to have it spelt right? Like, like it seems like there's, like, people don't care anymore.
And I think there's just, it's not even, definitely that, but I think for one, I think that the teachers that never really pushed it, they maybe understood that for some people, including me even, there's some things that like we talked about with the fractions and latitude, longitude and stuff, some people just take it and some people don't. And spelling for me definitely was a take. And other stuff wasn't. So I just think of that sort of deal, whereas for some people, they would think, fractions or whatever, no problem. They just do, go through that, and what's your problem? Or why would you even make it different?
Yeah.
Where I'm going at, like, I get 4 different answers from one different thing.
You're like, I'm only doing so much baking. Can we just like make this into milliliters instead of cups, and then we don't have to worry about fucking fractions anymore?
Well, and then weed. Oh. Weed fractions is what actually really helped me.
Yeah, it's all got to be like a fourth or quarter or an eighth or
whatever else. And then it was like, oh, okay. I started like really getting it.
I remember explaining it to you when we first got together. People are like, I'd rather have an eighth than a half, because then if I get an eighth of it, then it's a bigger number. And you're like, no, it's 1 part of 8 if you,
Well, there's the thing, the Burger King. I think there's like a meme that goes around where it says something about they put out a 1/3 burger. Yeah. And people were complaining that it was less meat. Yeah. Because it was a smaller number than the quarter pounder. Yeah. That's so great.
So it didn't sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Math. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, fractions.
Yeah. My mom was always like, I think because her generation, there was like educated people and not educated people, and not everybody got to go into the school system. Yeah, in the 50s or whatever. So, I mean, she was born in the 50s. She wasn't going to school in the 50s, but I think that there was like this a bit more of a stigma. You were either educated or uneducated, and they didn't. I know my mom didn't want me to have anything holding me back. So if I wanted to go shoot for the stars and do some job that you needed a good education for, you needed to be able to write properly and print and spell and everything else. So there was kind of a stigma put on it, like that she wanted you to do well in those things because she wanted you to do well for yourself and for the family and everything else, where I think maybe if I'd have come from family that also wasn't good spellers and didn't, like, my mom busted her ass at school to do well, and she did really, really well in school. So she instilled that into us too, is that you bust your ass. You don't just half-ass something and because then that's your, I don't know, disposition for everything else that you're doing. Like, if you're going to do something, do a good job at it and take some pride in it rather than just... not caring.
That's where I never really understood before. Like, I always took, like, having to really put myself in other people's shoes to realize
that's good enough for them.
That's not even necessarily good enough. Maybe they're really awesome at other things that I really suck at.
Maybe they keep the bathroom super duper clean.
Maybe, I don't know. But I just, it's like...
We all have different levels of...
But before I was always like, well, why?
Good enough.
If you know it's wrong, make it right. But a lot of times it's just too much to think about to even question, is it wrong?
Yeah.
I'm happy I did it, and I wrote it out, and that's great.
Yeah.
Yay!
They're like, I'm taking that as a win.
Yeah.
Don't freaking break it all apart.
I was just thinking, I had a story, and my memory's pretty crappy. So the
little foggy in there, a little hazy. Here, let me spark that up right at the very end of the episode.
Perfect.
Can you tell us about your
rap name,
your
though.
foggy memory?
Little hazy.
Little hazy.
And I can't remember the details, so this is why it's not going to be a great story. But I remember back in the day getting into either an argument or a debate or something with, I want to say, my mom, but it could have been like a teacher, but I think it was my mom, maybe, or somebody else. Anyway, all about like nice writing and nice printing making a big difference.
Yeah.
And I always understood that. I said, yes, I get that I don't want to look like a dumbass, because I'll admit I had friends who, when they printed and wrote, it looked really bad, like really shoddy and shitty.
Hard to read.
And my thing was always, when I write fast, it's going
to be messy.
Crappy.
Yeah.
And so the one time I ended up getting into this debate saying it shouldn't matter because my spelling's right, the wording's exact same, everything It shouldn't make any difference on whether it's printed messily, let's say. If you can read it, if it's eligible, great. That's all that should matter.
Legible?
Legible? What did I say?
Eligible.
Legible. There you go. Thank you.
That's okay.
All over the place today. So I remember specifically writing out a story. It was for English or something, and then typing it out. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And then handing them both in. I can't remember exactly how the logistics worked on getting them both marked or whatever. But it was legit, where the one was like, I'm going to say 65%, and the other one was 85 or 95% kind of deal.
You're making the teacher's job easier by being able to read it.
Able to read it and type it out, and it looks more professional.
Like,
it just gives you that appearance of, they put the time in and the effort. Perfect. Let's give them a little extra for that even.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily about the presentation. It's that you took the time to do it.
And I think when we were growing up, there was also a thing where you, out of consideration for the teacher,
that was huge.
Like even in extracurricular activities, like with horse stuff, you did stuff so that it was better for your teacher to show them respect. Like you dressed nice for your lessons, or you showed up on time, and there was just all these things, So like printing and stuff, like they're like, do it nice, They want to be able to read your work, right? And if they can't read it, then they don't know whether you're just don't give a shit, or if you're maybe only have a grade 3 level amount of printing.
Well, that's exactly. Yeah, as a teacher, making awesome teacher wages, you're sitting there, and if you got to spend even if you got to spend an extra 2 minutes on somebody's paper because it's a little more hard to read,
then 20
you're like,
other kids,
that's
40 other minutes
for sure.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, like, oh my God. So
you really appreciate the ones you can read.
Yeah, yeah, good call. Yeah, so, she was right.
So, would you rather swim in the ocean or swim in the lake?
Ooh. Oh.
And just like our lake that's here.
And purely just for fun?
Yeah,
just going
like
swimming?
Both of them have nice water and decent beaches that are comfortable for you to be on, whatever that looks like for you.
I'm going to say the ocean.
For buoyancy, or
yes, purely for buoyancy. Yeah, for actually lots of different reasons.
Okay, did you want to share any of them?
Sure.
Okay.
One, buoyancy.
Buoyancy. Yeah.
2, there seems to be more action, more life, more things moving around, and then the waves themselves are moving, so they're a bit of more energy-wise kind of.
And that's fun for you?
Yeah, because
I'm feeling a little motion sickness just from you swaying around.
It seems less, not stagnant, but static.
Yeah.
I guess more dynamic. And because I grew up living and swimming and jumping in lakes and rivers and things, and not the ocean, then that's another big reason why.
Okay.
And
well, I guess it could be like river or lake or ocean. I get,
when rivers are fun. Rivers are fun to the right river.
Write in and tell us.
For sure. You'd throw like a log in the river and float down with that. That's always a blast.
Yeah, it's cool if you have a way to get back.
I was just going to say, logistics-wise, you basically have to either have a nice little settling pond in your river where you can swim and or
an eddy, is that what they called them?
Yeah, sure.
Yeti,
yeah.
eddy,
Yeti. Yeti.
A yeti.
Yeah, yeah.
No doubt.
And the ocean, especially like here, there's some days where I wish maybe we had bigger waves when it was still warmer. If
In
that
the
makes
summer
sense.
storm waves.
Yeah, yeah.
Might be able to get some over on the Hollyhock side.
Yeah, but then it's really crappy and windy.
Oh, okay.
Too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just the only other place is South Padre in Texas, where it
Wasn't
was
it
like
windy though? Still,
it was a little cloudy
But it
and
was warm.
overcast, but it was warm. The water was still nice and warm and decent.
still Gulf of Mexico or whatever.
But they were also fucking 12-foot waves. It was
Yeah.
crazy, you know. But it was also kind of fun because it was different and yeah. Or where's the other one that we went to? Long Beach.
Yeah.
But that was fun. That was cold though.
You Ucluelet.
Yeah.
Uclulet.
Yeah, because that was cold, but it was also fun because the waves were a little bit bigger and there's just more, literally more you can do.
I like the dynamic sea life part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
And so you, ocean versus lake?
I
For making love in? Let's say throw back to last episode.
I really like if I'm going to visit one or the other, I like the ocean as far as like you can flip it over and check out some crabs or see a
I'm like, you flip the ocean over. What happened here?
A rock or something, or you know what I mean? Like you can see more of the critters and that kind of stuff, and the seashells, and it's
the
just
tide of it, the in and out. I like that too.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I kind of don't like that, and I kind of don't like barnacles, and I don't like the sharp oysters, and I don't like the broken seashells that stab your foot, or the broken glass from people breaking glass and throwing it in the water.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
you know, that in lakes too, though, but
I suppose, yeah.
Not as much.
It was always so muddy at all the lakes we had growing up. You had to go out on the dock and then jump in from there because you didn't walk back in through the muck along the edges.
Yeah, we never had any fancy docks or anything.
This wasn't fancy. It was like a couple of old logs with some shitty boards across with weird rusted nails sticking out with like a platform at the end.
So fancy, you're saying.
Well,
it reminds me of that Deadpool conversation where she's like, I had to live in a refrigerator box. You had a refrigerator? You know, they go back and forth. They're like, oh, so you had a dock.
Yeah.
You know, you had logs for a dock. Lucky you.
I like the getting out of the water and my skin feeling super soft of being in this lake.
Oh, yeah.
Hag Lake is lovely that way.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of like my eyes burning when I get the salt water in them.
Okay.
But I do feel like the salt water is more healing.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like the salt content and all of that. Like my hair's not as happy after. But each individual curl is doing
curlier.
their own thing. It's
That's for
ridiculousness. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't like necessarily having to rinse everything off after the
because
ocean.
The salt's corrosive, and if you leave it on there, it'll mess up your shoes. Did I tell everybody last week we got to go into the ocean with the horses?
I think you did.
Okay, I think I told you guys that.
But yeah, I think that's
I don't know if you put any pictures in. All right, it's time to go. Yeah. So
rock and roll.
What would you rather? Do you guys like freshwater swimming
ocean,
or
lake, river?
Or
wave pool?
visiting and what
other bodies of water are there?
Preference words.
Hot springs. Mm-hmm. No, hot springs are nice, but they're too hot sometimes.
Sulfury smelling.
And they smell like ass.
Egg ass.
You know what's fun is like rock slides. What'd you say? Asses? Stanky asses.
Not fun.
Rock slides where the water's like just trickling over the rocks. Ooh. And we did that in Manitoba. That was awesome. I
saw a video of that. Some people standing beside, if that's what it was, like the rocks were like tumbling down. It was crazy. That's a rock slide.
Yeah. Sorry,
but there was water
probably two different types of rock slides, I guess. But like type where you like slide on the rocks with your body.
Oh, okay.
But they're like so smoothed out because of the water and people doing it for thousands of years or whatever. And, doing it on the rocks.
That's how you on the rocks.
On the rocks. That's where it came from.
Yep.
Anyway.
Well, we should go. Speaking of doing it on the rocks, let us know. You're doing it on the sand or on the rocks or
under the ocean, over the ocean, on a boat with a goat,
in a moat,
in a box with the fox.
Emote.
Oh, there you go. I like it.
Anyways, thanks for joining us to the very, very end of the Rambly podcast. Let us know if you're into meditation. Try the meditation if you liked it or you love it. If you're doing it all the time or you need to maybe get back to it a little bit.
My God, this was a long podcast.
And let us know. And we love you. Thank you for making it to the end of the podcast. Share us with your friends. Find us on Instagram, Facebook at We Can't Pick, and on YouTube if you feel like seeing our faces.
This face.
And this one too. And sometimes pets. This was a pet-free episode, unfortunately, but maybe next time.
And, subscribe.
Like and subscribe. It helps us out. And we'll catch you next week.
Yay.
Thanks for joining us. Love you guys.
Have fun.
Bye.
Yay.
Wrapping it up in a nice little bow. I really hope you liked all of our stories. We don't really have an outro yet. We hope we didn't cause too many bories. That's when you get bored and you're like, fuck this, and you space out and you look over there. You don't want to quit listening 'cause you love us and you're putting up with our shenanigans.